I actually hadn't had a test ride before I bought it. I just made the decision and knew I'm going to get it. I called around local places because I couldn't wait for delivery.
What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of eSKATE Chat with Evolve, and on this episode we have Eliza from Brisbane. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Pretty good. So you've been part of the local group here, sort of where Evolve HQ is based for years now. How long have you been riding?
2 years. So just before Christmas 2018, I bought myself the board, 2-in-1. It would have taken about 11 months till I switched to street wheels. So the first year was on AT. This second year has been on street wheels.
Yeah, cool. So did you start with the GT?
Yes, Carbon GT.
On the AT. And then what boards do you have at the moment?
Carbon GT and Stoke.
I see you come to a lot of the group rides and you're riding street. So you made that switch over to street pretty quickly? Or after the 10 months?
Yeah, I did. So just before my first Christmas ride, I switched over to street and haven't looked back since. I'll still use the AT if we're going off-road, that sort of thing. But majority of the time, yeah, street. It's a lot of fun.
So one of the things that caught our attention recently was you put out a video on your Stoke and you were dancing around on it. So dancing is fancy footwork on a board, walking up and down, all that sort of stuff. And you got quite a lot of love online. That video got like tons of likes and heaps of comments. And did that sort of trigger you to go, hey, people want to know how to do this? What was that process in you taking it from there to offering these demo sessions you've been doing?
Yeah, definitely. Originally, I sort of played around with dancing, did that for a little while. And then after a while, I just sort of posted that video. And from then, I got a lot of questions of people asking if I teach and that sort of thing, which I don't normally do, but people were interested. So since then, we've sort of started casual skate practice, muck around, just have a small group, people to sort of have a bit of a practice. So that's been good.
Was it surprising the amount of interest you did get on that original post?
It was for me, yeah. It's not something I expected, but it's, yeah, I think a bit of good's come out of it. So a lot of people keen to have a go and people getting together, which is, yeah, really good to see.
That's what it's all about. What kind of people are coming along to these lessons or mini group skate sessions?
It's actually a mix of skill levels. Some people who, like the other day, they just picked up their board that very same day. And other people who've been riding for years and doing a lot of slides and a lot of tricks already. One of the other guys is pretty much riding in switch, practicing that and doing slides in switch, which, yeah, is next level, I think.
It's definitely a tricky one. If you think you've progressed, start riding switch and then you start again.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something a lot of people should explore more is the boards can be used in multiple ways. Like you might be killer on AT. Swap over to street and see if you can slide. See what else you can do. And then that reinvigorates the passion for learning something new. And I think that's what a lot of these people are like seeing you and going like, I haven't tried to do that. That's what I'm going to want to learn. They might be great. They might be able to slide and do all that. But they sort of want to be like you. Is there anything you wish you knew when you first started eSKATE?
I'd say a lot of things. I think definitely the thing that sticks out is the different surfaces, especially the tactile paving, to not lean into it or carve because I'll slide out. A lot of maybe board maintenance. I guess in time for me that it came in time until I started breaking a few things. But yeah, I think a lot of them come in time sort of thing.
Can you take us back and tell us why you got into electric skateboarding? Where was the first time you even saw an electric skateboard?
The first time for me, I hadn't seen one in person. I was actually on my phone and I can't actually remember where it was, but there was a small snippet, a video of electric skateboarding, and I just remember instantly thinking, what in the world is that? And I just kept having a look and kept researching, and then decided I want to get my own board. And I really like with the Evolve you had the all-terrain option, and I think for me that was an easy decision for me. And I actually hadn't had a test ride before I bought it. I just made the decision and knew I'm going to get it. I called around local places because I couldn't wait for delivery. I just wanted it instantly. So that's how I was introduced to it. So
very spontaneous. I like it. Had you had previous board experience? Did snowboard, surfboard, anything like that?
Not so much. I've snowboarded once, so I'm not that great at it. Still learning. I've had 2 cruises. I think they're about 10 years old. I wouldn't have called myself a skater. I sort of used it to get to and from work. So I was working full time, studying part time, and it was maybe a kilometre or 2 riding into South Bank. So that was easy, and I couldn't do any tricks or anything fancy like that. I probably just struggled to stop at the lights sort of thing. So I'd say that's my experience. So nothing, had never seen anything electric before until now. So it's good.
So you'd never ridden one before. You picked it up from a store?
I did.
Can you remember that first ride?
Yeah, so that takes me back to Suncorp Stadium where I normally go. And I just sort of got, when I stepped on the board, I guess it's like that big grin you have as a kid. You sort of feel like a kid again. And I just rode around Suncorp, started doing laps and practiced the braking, starting to brake aggressively just in case, because these days you don't know what's going to jump out in front of you. So lots of big grins.
It was very sensible of you to actually go and learn the product in a safe environment. I think that's definitely a point that people should take on board. Like, go and take your time with it, build up your skills a little bit slowly. And then, once you are out in the real world, if anything does happen, you can, you got it covered. Were you still skating to work at that point? Did you swap it out as a commute option?
I was actually. So initially when I first bought the board, I didn't actually think I would use it to get to and from work. But it's every day I take it to and from work, and it's just the best way to start the day and end the day, especially after a long, intense day at work.
Cool. So you've been skating to and from work pretty much since?
Yeah, every day, provided it's not raining. So
in the progression of you sort of learning all these new skills and stuff you've been doing, have you had many accidents?
Plenty that I've lost count. I still do now, especially when I'm learning new things, or I think one of the a lot of the times that I do have accidents or stacks is when I'm non-committal. So I'm trying something, then I sort of hesitate. But I guess that's where it's good to have protective gear. I've got either my wrist guards or slide pucks, so when I take a few slams, it sort of disperses the impact, which, is very helpful.
Yeah, nice. Do you wear any pads?
I do, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a lot of hands down glove sort of slides, I'll throw on some knee pads and elbow pads, because I'm still learning with that. Definitely need it.
Are there any riders that you sort of might follow online, or you watch what they do outside of Brisbane and you're like, I want to try that, I want to do that?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of some of the local riders as well as some riders online. So whether it's on Instagram, there's a lot of really great longboard dancing riders out there, and a few people in Australia who do a lot of great slides. I think there's quite a few in Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne's got a pretty big slide community.
Yeah, it seems like they're really good at their glove slides. It's a big thing there.
And there's a bunch of girls down there doing it too.
Yeah, I've seen that, which is, it's good to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. If someone isn't able to come to your demo, obviously, because they're not here, how do you talk people through things? Like, what advice would you give to, say, a more novice rider in terms of building up their confidence?
I guess, it's definitely easier going through it in person, but I guess if they're further away, I'd say go at your own pace, slowly, and practice. Yeah, definitely practice somewhere where you've got space. You don't have to worry about traffic or pedestrians, that sort of thing. And there's plenty of material online, YouTube. There's a lot of help out there, I think.
How do you find dancing? Because you dance on the Stoke, which you're very small. I guess small feet probably help in that situation. How do you find dancing on that compared to your carbon?
Well, I first started on the carbon and then got into it, really into it on the Stoke, which, if I'm honest, is really challenging. A little bit easier because I've got, I suppose, smaller feet, but the board itself, you don't have much room to dance. So there was a lot of tripping on my own feet sort of thing. But after a while, like anything in time, you just get more and more comfortable with it. Things feel more like second nature. I just remember the first dancing that I did was the cross step on the Stoke, and at first it was just so hard to place your foot across the other and swing the other one. It felt like it weighed a ton because you're not used to moving your legs that much when you're riding. You're just standing still, shifting your weight. But in time it just got easier, and you sort of loosen up a little bit more, and your feet feel lighter compared to when you first started. And I think that's why I do a lot more of the dancing now on the Stoke, just because it's got a bit of that flex compared to the carbon. So when I go back to the carbon, it just feels rigid. It's still doable, but I'd say a different feeling. And that's why I think one day I'll get the bamboo.
Yeah, I was going to say the bamboo GTR is on the 97 streets. It's good fun. Have you seen a guy called TLP Productions in New York? Tom,
yes, I have.
He does some pretty cool moves.
Yeah, I've seen that. Really good.
Yeah, and again, he comes from more of a traditional longboard background, so he was doing that before electric boards.
Okay.
So that's definitely a head start, but by no means do you have to have that before you start dancing on electric.
I would say, from my experience, no. It definitely helps when you've got some sort of experience, but I don't think it's a showstopper by any means. So, if you're curious about something, it's always worth having a crack, and, just small baby steps, and, little by little, that I think that creates a snowball effect. And before you know it, you're just reflecting and looking at how far you've come. So, yeah, definitely have a crack.
You got to start somewhere, so may as well start wherever you're at.
Yeah.
We've seen in the last 2-3 years the ratio of men and female skaters dramatically sort of go to the female side. Still way more men, but there's a lot more women riding now. The Brisbane scene where you are has quite a lot of them. How do you find women that don't traditionally gravitate towards a sport like this find enjoyment in eSKATE?
I guess definitely here there's more women, and a lot of partners that come along, which is great to see. It's just good to see more and more women. I think the first group ride that I ever went to was mostly men, and there was one other female there, and eventually in time there was more and more, and I think the more you see as a female, the more comfortable you are, and the more, you sort of get a bit more confidence to have a go and get out there. So I think it's good. Everyone supporting each other.
We see scenes where there are a lot of women sort of draw women in more as well. So there's either like none or lots. So I don't know what it is, but maybe like you just need some sort of presence there. You need someone saying, hey, look, this is awesome. Take that step into doing it. And then we're all going to have fun. It's going to be sick. So I think like your videos are going to be inspiring in a lot of ways to people that aren't maybe in Brisbane, but just watching online going, she can do that. I want to do that too.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to sort of think that it would have that effect, because I know for me, those sort of videos and seeing other women as well in their videos, for me, that inspires me too. And I think it's encouraging for other women.
So the local Brisbane scene's one of the biggest in the world, really. We get 70, 80 people to a group ride, and they're really passionate about their dress-up events. We did the go-kart events. We had 150 people there. How do you find that community inspires you to keep doing the events? Like, you're always dressing up, you're always turning out. How do you feel that community makes you want to engage with it?
I think, it's definitely good to see that. I think even if you just go to one, it's encouraging to keep going. You just, you go to one, you want more. And I just remember the first group ride, the second group ride, and you definitely just want more. And even the first Christmas ride that I went to the year before last year, it was such a big turnout and so many people getting into the costumes and dressing up, which is really good to see. And then you see the response from the public. It just puts a big smile on their face seeing all those costumes. And I guess it's that feeling as well. You get to ride in a group, you have fun, and you just want more and more. So
I remember that 2019 ride. Tell us about your costume.
So my costume was a combination of sleigh, which I had somehow fixed onto my board, made some cuts in the front and back just in case I had to bail. I wasn't trapped in that sleigh. And I had a gingerbread, they're actually originally gift bags, I believe. And I sort of modified it, put some slits down the side just so I could move around still. So it was gingerbread in a sleigh, little reindeer at the front. And I just remember that day when I was at home, I think I was running late, got an Uber, it was taking a bit longer. And it was a small hatchback, and I just remember thinking, I hope this fits in your boot. And it just fit. So we're driving along to New Farm, and all you could hear was the jingling in the boot of the bells on the costume, which was a little bit funny. And I remember pulling up, and the ride had started. So you see the flow of the costumes, all this red and all other costumes coming by. And so I just said, that's all right, I can just get off here, and got the board out. And I remember Jeff was there, he was riding by, and I just remember, I'm just going to get my costume on. I'm there trying to fit it all on, and off we went. And it was, I'd say that would probably be one of my favorite group rides to date.
Yeah, that was wicked. I remember I was filming and I came up behind you and you were just carving, because that would have been the carbon board on street wheels.
Yep.
And it looked like a sleigh with wheels, because you fully covered the board, but you were sliding, and this back wheel was just like going out either side, and this sleigh just looked like it was drifting along the footpath. It was a super cool look.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I should have said be prepared for a stack, because I wasn't sure how I'd go, because it was only maybe 2 weeks beforehand that I'd finally tried the street wheel. So, yeah.
Wow. Because that's the first time I remember seeing you ride. And I'm like, she can ride. She's super good. because I don't know if I've seen many other girls, if any, at that stage actually throwing the board past the point of traction. So yeah, it was super cool. And then there was a video you posted of actually doing full reverts or 180s.
Yep, on the carbon.
Must have been. It was old.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that
And-
would have been January when I thought of first attempting it. So
How long did it take you to get it?
maybe 2 sessions. So I could sort of throw the board out and lose traction, but I guess I slowly worked my way to 90 degrees, and a lot of the times I sort of flew off the board because I'd flat spot. But I think once you get to 90, and as one of the other guys as well in our session said, once you get to 90, it's probably 15 minutes till you can swing it to 180. And then from then, for me, once I got to 180, it was a matter of finding my balance afterwards, because I just either fall off or get thrown off. But yeah, it 2 sessions.
It's pretty good. Definitely right. Like once you get to 90, it pretty much wants to straighten up. You just have to have the commitment level to push it back a little bit, and then it's going to straighten up, and then you need to hold on.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much going to do us. So is there anything else you wanted to say before we sort of wrap it up?
I guess more of a question for you, Evolve, actually, as well as the community, or 2 questions, I guess. So what are some of the things that you guys like seeing in the community, and what are some of the things that you want to see more from the community?
Cool. So we love sort of the grassroots culture where community members take it on board to do things like the demos. That's why you're here, because that's how a sport starts. eSKATE is very new when you compare it to snowboarding or skateboarding, and a brand can be there to do big events and put money into this and that, but the people have to be passionate.
Yeah.
And once the passion's there, that's going to amplify and bring other people together. That's what we love. And then being sort of a global brand, we live on the internet pretty much. Content and capturing that and sharing that is the way we can spread it all around the world. Because like I guarantee you there's people in the UK that have seen your videos and gone and tried it. Like 100%. Grassroots culture and sharing the vibe, sharing the love and the passion, and that's how it's going to spread. That's what Evolve as a brand loves, and we try and facilitate where we can, like, you know, doing the go-kart event where we could pull out all these people. Doesn't matter if you had an Evolve, everyone come together and have a rad time, and then we want to show everyone else in the world, so then hopefully other people can do it too.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed as well in a lot of the rides. It's very, all boards welcome, everyone's welcome, which, yeah, is really good to see.
Cool. Do you want to give yourself a shout out on the socials?
My Instagram. Yeah.
We can just put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put it up
Go follow her.
in the links. So, yeah.
Yep. As for us, you can catch the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, pretty much anywhere you're going to watch a podcast. And that's pretty much it. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me, Maddie.
Thank you.